So, welcome to Nerd Church. We are going to jump right back in with a quick recap. So, at the end of our last session, you attempted to talk your way into the vacation home of House Kieran. Pretty much bungled it. The dice were not your friends last time, and it led to a skirmish with the squad of blades that was protecting Mena and her friends. You beat them up pretty good, but they did manage to delay you long enough for Mena and her friends to escape out a back door across the river and head out into the woods, where they led you a merry chase for quite a while, bringing it now to a time where it's still pre-dawn, but approaching dawn, I will say. And you have found yourself now on the open road in clear view of the smaller cottages that you passed on the way to House Kieran's vacation home. As a reminder, you didn't really pass through those cottages on your way here. The road does not go through the middle of them. They're along the river. So you're unsure if any of them are occupied right now or if there's anyone there. But as you finally caught up to them, Potom attempted to lash out with his phaser or lightning lure, but the surprisingly dexterous Mena leapt out of the way, shoving one of her friends in front of her, and avoided the lightning lure, at which point she yelled out, "Ugh, guards! Or someone! Ugh!" And you have not yet completed her capture. So we're going to start in a pretty active situation. I'd like you to place yourself on the combat map where you think you would be. Potom, we've placed you close enough that the lightning lure could have been active.
Is this one Panda?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
I put the little guy out there for you for air,
wait,
but you can choose whoever you prefer. I don't remember who we were using.
I don't know, it seems to get lost every time.
Yeah.
Also because of our... well, I don't think that I used any of my spells the last time.
Well, I reset you because we played
Right.
using D&D Beyond, and you were unconscious.
Right. Okay. So you've set me back up to this. All right.
I just reset you. Yeah. So we're not technically in combat right now, but you are. You have sort of cornered these folks, and Mena has called loudly for help. What are you going to do?
Are we still in like a rotation of whose turn it is?
No, so we're not in active combat,
Okay.
but we are. I guess what I'll describe it as there's an immediate situation here. Mm-hmm. So you're not necessarily in combat rounds, but things are going to move quickly.
I would like to set the phaser again for less than lethal dose and a stun dose.
Okay.
And again, fire at Mena.
All right. What is everybody else doing while this occurs? I'm going to let everybody tell me what your action is in this moment.
I'm going to... Oh.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm going to cast Charm Person. Oh, you know what? I don't think I have spell slots. Never mind.
Okay.
That would have been really useful, though.
Whatever.
I was gonna throw Entangle to try to capture them in place so that they can't keep running.
Okay. And entangle is an area of effect, right?
Yeah, so it's constant. It's up to 1 minute. It's 90 feet. Is the range. Area is 20.
Okay, so you can, if you center it on Mena or a little behind her, you could easily cover all of those.
That was my thought.
Folks. Mm-hmm. Yep, you can do that.
If I remember correctly, if they move through this, it's like moving through rough terrain, and then they also get damage? Or
No, that's
potential of
thorns.
damage?
There's a different
okay.
spell
Yeah.
that
I
hurts
gotcha.
them. This one just slows them
It's
down.
restrain.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And Freya, what are you up to?
I'm a little bit back. I can't remember how far back I was. But I really think that I need to like try to go around the back of them.
Sure. You can,
I'm gonna try to flank them here. So I'll be running this direction behind them.
Okay.
I should mention, and I might need a rule adjudication here. I do have one slot on my character sheet open for a spell, but I honestly don't. I would have assumed I would have used both of them last, but I don't honestly remember.
I don't think you necessarily
Or did
did.
I don't know what I would. Yeah, I probably wouldn't have used it more than.
Pretty sure you used like
Hex.
a booming blade or something like that,
Yeah.
but I don't, or a
Booming
hex,
blade.
but
Yeah, hex for sure.
but I don't remember another spell because I don't think you attempted a charm as you were entering.
No.
You just tried to sweet talk him.
Yeah, I thought that was good enough. Didn't work.
Damn.
All right, so we're just throwing all the spells at him. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, and
You're
I'm running
to
around the back of them.
If you're gonna let me, you just cast it.
Yeah, if you've got an open slot,
All right.
I trust your character
Paper.
sheet.
Yeah, what's written on
I don't know.
paper?
I don't know how fast I'm
Controls.
necessarily able to go back behind there.
I think where you were sitting there is good.
Well, yeah, but because we're not exactly where I was sitting.
yeah,
So
where
if
you were there is good.
If you rush, you can do 60.
So you can do double
Yeah.
that. So
Okay.
they're 5 feet per square.
Oh, okay. So 12, 1.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty good. That'll give you an angle on it
Yeah.
at least. Okay, so let's do a couple things. It sounds like I need to do quite a bit of rolling. So let's start with the entangling. That is a strength save, it looks like. And what is your DC? I think it's 14. Is that right? I think so. So we'll start with the 4 elves. I'm just going to roll for all of them together because they're putzes. That is a 12 for them. So all 4 of the little friends are entangled. Separately, we're going to roll for Mena. She's slick.
Oof.
As an 18.
Got 'em.
So the entangling weeds and vines burst up all around.
Okay. Wait. At least we.
They whip around the ankles and thighs of all of these 4 sort of elvish noble friends in the back, who are pulled down to the ground and kind of weakly go and fall over, and they are restrained, so they cannot move or act in any overt way other than talking. Mena, however, sort of hears this happening and kind of looks over her shoulder and goes, "Ugh," and sort of brushes the vines away. And she also kind of flicks her hand a little bit, and you see some sort of sparkles as her magic takes hold, and the vines near her kind of fall away. So she is not entangled. However, the area around her is now difficult terrain. So it will make it harder for her to run should she choose to do so. Next, let's do the lightning lure. So this is what is the check for Mena? I assume you're after her again?
Yes, I'm sorry. I have to be. Well, I'll take a couple of steps forward because I have to be within 15 feet. And it's an automatic. She's got a save strength 14.
Strength 14. Okay. This time she does not save. So focused on the vines, she is not looking at you, and you fire your phaser. The energy arcs around her, and what is the...
She's pulled 10 feet towards me and would take 1d8 lightning damage, but I've non-lethal.
Okay. All right, so she is now right next to you, but she is not restrained or grappled or anything like that, right? It just pulls her towards you.
Target must succeed a strength saving throw or be pulled 10 feet in a straight line towards you and then take 1d8 lightning damage. And it's within 5 feet of you, so no, she's not grappled or anything.
Okay, so I'm going to offer you a choice here. When we do non-lethal in D&D, you can still do the damage if you want, but can say that you want the result to be non-lethal. So remember last time with one of those blades at least, you intentionally knocked them out. You lowered their HP to 0, but said, "I'm not killing them," so they ended up stable.
I would like.
Do you want to actually do the damage? Is
Yes.
what I'm asking. Okay, then roll your damage.
Six.
Okay. So she is jolted, sort of taser style. Kind of a shudder goes through her as she's pulled towards you. She, however, is not knocked unconscious, but for the first time, you do see what looks maybe a little bit like fear in her eyes as she has been hurt by this, and she looks down at you. You, by the way, being the only one of the party who is not in disguise, and goes, "Ew, don't touch me!" Air, your action is what?
I'm going to cast Charm Person
On.
Mena.
Okay. What is the save?
It is a Wisdom saving throw. And somehow I lost. Wait a second. Oh, here it is. Let me make sure I'm in range first. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm in range. 30 feet. And yeah, it's a Wisdom saving throw, and I believe must make Wisdom saving throw and does so with advantage if you or your companions are fighting it. Ooh, dang. If it fails, the saving throw is charmed until the spell ends. It's an hour long. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's you that makes the roll. The saving throw should be, I believe it's, what is it, my spell modifier or something?
It's your save DC. So when you click spells,
Oh, it should
it'll
say
say
right
your
there.
save DC at the top of that window.
14.
14.
Oof,
Right.
this is not great.
At advantage.
Well, are we fighting her?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're super fighting her. I mean,
No one rolled initiative.
someone just
is what-
blasted her with lightning.
Not lethally.
Not lethally.
More like a spar than a fight. You
I
know?
mean, again, you could wait and do this later when you're not in combat, but you have definitely begun combat at this point. So,
No, I'm committed to, I'm a man of my word, I'm
to the bit.
a woman of my word.
all right. The first roll is a 5. The second roll
I have to redeem myself.
at advantage
Except,
is
are you a woman of your word? As we all not kill anyone.
a natural 1.
Whoa!
Yes!
Wow.
There! You did it!
After
Today's
totally
your day.
effing up the
No,
the deception
but
with
it
the
was
blades.
No, it's
This is my moment. This is some
yeah.
character development
They're
right
all right.
It reminds
It's
me
the art.
Yeah, this is the art. They're like
Okay.
they're great cookies, aren't they?
of peanut butter Oreos.
Your
would not
charm
want
person spell takes effect,
Yes.
and let me just
What the charm effect is exactly?
make sure I've got the spell effect clear, because charm person gets used in interesting ways sometimes. You attempt to charm a humanoid you can see within range. It must be blah blah blah. Charmed by you until the spell ends. The charmed creature regards you as a friendly acquaintance. When the spell ends, the creature knows it was charmed by you. This lasts for 1 hour.
Okay, okie dokie, right?
Okay. Or the spell also ends if you or your companions do anything harmful to it.
Okay, I as a free action, I yell out that she's charmed. Don't hurt her.
Okay.
Actually, I don't-
Physically,
yeah, I-
correct? Physically. Don't hurt her
You
physically.
can hurt her
Don't-
emotionally.
Oh yeah, I mean,
I'm just checking.
You can berate her.
Because I was thinking about stuff I can do, okay?
Emotional.
Her style choice and
Emotional damage.
Yeah.
You're less of a woman.
Her, her inexperience.
Would
in
you
the
like
role.
to see a real woman?
All right, so as the spell takes effect, she looks up and sees you, Air, and says, "Oh, thank the dawn. Somebody's finally here. Do something about this."
And then I make a really grandiose gesture to the others. Cease attack you, Menamena. That's an order.
Yeah, finally someone with authority has arrived. This is ridiculous.
I'm so sorry, my lady. It took me.
Yeah.
This came upon you. Or this happened to you.
You see, as you say that, you see that she almost seems to center herself, like everything just became right with the world again. For a second, she was shook by what was going on. This is not a person who's been hurt often in her life, and she sort of like, it's like she realized what was always going to happen has finally happened.
Of course.
It just took a lot longer than it should have, and somebody's going to hear about
It
it.
always works out.
Mm-hmm. And she turns to you and says, I need an explanation for this. I assume you have one?
Yes. Unfortunately, it turns out that some of the blades that were guarding you were traitors. And we were sent to save you.
Mm-hmm.
Things
I want you
obviously got a little dicey.
I want you to make a deception check. At advantage.
I forgot that. I can't be so cavalier. I'll roll in here. Deception?
Mm-hmm. At advantage.
Yeah. So first one, 15. Second one, 10. Hopefully 15's enough.
She gives kind of a little gasp. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
They will do anything to get after my daddy.
Yes, they will. But we are here now to help save you.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Now, over her shoulder, you hear one of her friends go, "What in the hells are you talking about? They're obviously lying. They murdered your guards."
You mean murdered traitors?
So I'd like to. Could I have a little talk with the friends here?
Yeah.
I'd like to have a little talk with the friends here.
I'm not. Wait, you mean? Oh, I'm not.
Don't get entangled.
I'm not getting entangled. We are. Excuse me, ladies. I believe that you're saved. You are saved, and if I had any, if I were you, I would be looking now and thanking your patroness and the Dawn who have come to save you.
Make an intimidation check.
You bet. Oops.
I'm going to just say it worked. I'm intimidated.
Stoic, wide-eyed, stoic.
Panda believes it.
They get very quiet very quickly. But one does pipe up and say, "Why do they all look the same?" And then the one next to her goes, "Not that little one." So that's about it. They don't say anything loud enough for men and
And I
men.
say it's very dark outside. You could be mistaken.
That's true. So Menamena turns back to you and says, "Well, I'm glad somebody was here to take care of this, but now I want to go someplace comfortable. I am in my dressing gown, out in public, in front of anyone to see, and it is not even dawn. Take me to my father's house right now."
Yes. Unfortunately, we have intelligence that says that there's more traitorous blades coming your way. So we actually have to take you to a secret safe house. Yes, secret safe house. Your friends can join, and we'll make it as pleasant for you as possible. But we will have to wait there a little bit of time while we're able to catch these traitors.
Ugh, this is so inconvenient.
Yeah,
But I suppose you do know best.
They would be expecting us to go back to your father's house.
Well, as long as there's wine, I suppose. We can keep the party going, right, everyone?
I see no reason.
And she looks
why not.
over her shoulder, and they seem nearly as intimidated as they just were by Freya when she says that. Well, what are we waiting for? Where's the carriage?
about that.
Unfortunately.
I look nervously to
pulls
the
out
rest
a
of
battery, and a homunculus servant forms around it and scoops up Mena Mena to carry her.
For a second, she goes, "Yeah, well,
plush leather seats.
okay. I mean,
Pond taps on the leg and a chair forms for her to sit in.
this is weird, but okay. The four of you are gonna have to walk."
With Freya.
Bottom turns and just goes,
Okay. Off you set.
Yeah.
It seems that no alarm was raised in the cottages
That was
by
amazing.
the
That was
scuffle.
amazing. Yeah, it was great.
Your rolls look a little different today
They look-
than they did a couple weeks ago.
Hannah was terrified.
And you begin your march.
We take back streets, or no streets at all.
Sure. You can do that. Yeah, so you're headed to the sea caves. And the sea caves are
the safe house.
sure. Yeah. But the directions you were given, and you vaguely know where the sea caves are. Like any little kids that grow up in Chukip know generally where the sea caves are. It's a place where parents definitely don't want their kids to go because it's actually very dangerous. But it is a place that, because of that, definitely kids go. And every year, a couple kids die down there for sure. It is a legitimately
that's
dangerous
for real.
place, but really cool and fun.
it's the red granite quarry of
100%. Yes, it is what every town's got. Like the place
Yeah.
way out in the woods where kids go to party or
Yeah.
go to like dare each other to jump off the
Right.
big
Yeah,
rock
lovers'
or
night.
whatever. It's all that stuff. Yep. But also, this is literally just some caves out in the woods overlooking the ocean. It is about as far from the city as you can get on this side of the island. So you know how to get there, and it is definitely off the beaten path. So very quickly, you leave the road and are headed southwest towards the southernmost tip of the island, where the sea caves are. And it doesn't take long before Mena Mena kind of recognizes where you're headed, and she goes, "The sea caves? Daddy has a safe house in the sea caves?"
He has. Yeah. Well, I wanted to roll quick before we got to this point. My character, or I assume maybe you can tell me I'm wrong. My character knows how far away it is.
Vaguely. So
More or less than an hour?
you don't know exactly where you are. Like there are dozens of caves
Right.
lining the cliff walls along here. You were told to go to the sea caves, but not given a specific location. You were told that someone will meet you there and guide you to the location where the captives will be held. So you're heading in the general direction of the sea caves, but you do know that it will take you at least 2 hours.
Okay, so
reach.
So Ares definitely knows that she's on the clock here.
Yes. So I would say by the time Mena realizes where you're headed,
I would like to. Well, I would wanted to like powwow with my.
that's fine. You definitely can. But
Beforehand.
just to put a timestamp on when I'm saying she says this,
Oh, okay.
it's probably been 45, 50 minutes.
Okay.
So the clock is really ticking at this point. You can feel the magic starting to lose its hold.
Yeah. Well, I comment that yes, your father has safe houses all over. One of them being the caves. What better place would there be?
He's so smart.
He is, isn't he?
This is why no other noble houses are as good as ours. Because Daddy is the smartest.
It's true.
Hannah rolls her eyes.
But then soon, right after that conversation wraps up, I pull aside some of my comrades in no particular order, and mentions like, okay, we got about a good 10, maybe 15 minutes before the charm wears off. Do we have
She's
what's our backup
just
plan?
as delusional as her brother.
Great. You better, brother.
I may have run into him.
Okay. Do we have any other type of restraining device?
Let's just say they have a messed up family.
Okay. Air just like looks confused, but accepts it.
Rules permitting, I could maybe fashion some restraints out of my servant.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Is
I
there
was
some-
wondering. Is your servant allowed to?
I mean, I'm definitely curious about the nature of this particular spell effect. I like the flavor of the walking chair. So I was very
the chair
comfortable.
was just flavor.
I was very comfortable with that. I don't know that we're going to go so far as to say it's going to create restraints.
Well,
But you all have
I
plenty of
I
rope.
can command it,
Yeah.
and so the servant has arms and legs and can very much, at my command, wrap its arms around her to restrain her.
Okay. Where can I read about the servant?
Where can I poke holes in your server?
I mean, I just want to understand before this servant starts like casting spells or
On D&D
flying.
Beyond, you can look up homunculus
Teleporting.
servant,
Homunculus servant. Yes. I love
and I guess, Now, looking at the card that I stole from D&D Beyond, it does say tiny construct.
Tiny.
The image is hilarious.
She's sitting on this little thing. It's the littlest.
It's like a little bar stool or
And it
something.
has
It's like you sat down in a kindergartner's chair, so your knees are in your face.
And it has a strength of 4. But you know what?
very light.
I like the flavor of it. So I'm gonna
Barely
say
somehow.
this thing's gonna require a lot of repairs by later.
Yeah.
But it's doing the work that it needs to do. But it is definitely not going to be in a position to restrain someone in any significant way. I mean, I'm happy to make a strength check against it when the time comes, but I don't think it's going to slow her down much based on her rolls up to this point.
What about like the net that's around the girls? Like what?
There's
Put the
no-
girls in a net?
No, there's no
no,
net
I-
around the girls.
No, they're
Right now, everyone, to be clear,
It's all played out in my mind.
to be clear, for the last 45 minutes, all of these folks have, Menemen has been riding a tiny construct, and her 4 friends, totally cowed by both you and her, have just been meekly walking along, unrestrained, just following the leader, going where they were told, because up to this point, the person they look to for guidance has accepted this story that you have delivered to them. They're pretty sure, I mean, they watched you cast a spell on her. So, and they're not total idiots. They live in a land of magic, and they're educated. But they haven't.
Probably by you.
They have.
Yeah,
They have
running
not
it.
like made a run for it. They're scared. But nobody's restrained at this point.
Okay.
Right behind them.
Yeah. So here's the question. Clearly, Menemena is in the front. These ladies are directly behind her.
They're wherever you all
Yeah.
put them.
Okay.
They're directly behind.
I would
her,
assume
and I'm
that
That's how
Freya-
Well, so then
Yeah.
I'm going to Freya, who is walking behind them, and I hold up my rope.
Thank you.
I think it's about time.
I think it's about time I pick one end.
I was hoping Air pipes in. There's no way we can make this into some kind of fun parlor game or something.
Just distract the young woman while your effect
I
has
think-
its hold.
I think that it is good if the young woman goes a little bit ahead. The young woman goes a little bit ahead of her friends.
Oh, I see.
The 3 of us will
Yeah.
take care of the
Right.
friends, and then we'll deal with Menemena.
After
After.
we've
In 10,
dealt with
15
her
minutes, yeah.
friends.
Okay.
So we all have normal rope. right? There's nothing like magical about this
just
rope that I
rope.
have
No, it's
missed.
just
Okay.
50 feet of hemp
Exactly
rope.
what you
Just-
think it is.
Perfect.
Just rope. You got
Perfect.
you got some
Air-
basic ass rope.
Air pipes in and says, "Mena, it's a woman of your stature should not be in the middle of this group. We need to be marching ahead, forging the path here."
What is he doing?
I thought you said this every time.
I was just like, you could just
Let
go
him
on
shoot.
ahead. We're just
my-
like, oh,
we're-
Oh my God, all she has to do is shut up!
She looks at you and goes, "Oh, I guess."
Look at this beautiful seascape,
yeah.
and go to.
Yeah, I mean, I've
just
seen
kinda-
the ocean, but okay.
I'm a magician. Look over there.
I'm just sort of like, okay, girls. Okay.
Pandas appear by that.
Yeah.
All right.
This is bottom in camp mode.
I mean, it doesn't take much time for
Yeah.
with
Them to
all of
just-
you sort of surrounding the girls to slow them just a little bit. None of them, they're all too meek to really speak up or make any noise. And Mena is barely paying attention to them. The sun has started to rise. I will also.
Just as an idea,
Yeah.
this seems like 4 people's worth of dead weight. Any chance that we just knock them out?
And no, Bottom.
They'll be fine,
knock
right?
them out.
Just knock them out.
kill them.
Why are we taking it? Why would we
Do
take
you
them
have?
with?
What about your? Do you have like a little laser or something that can just put them to sleep for a little bit?
I have this hammer.
No,
What
let's
happened
not
to
do that.
Potty used to be so.
I call it my sleeping hammer.
Sleeping hammer.
What happened to Potty?
Bottom's in it now.
So Bottom, no, I don't think that we should hit them in any way over the head with hammers.
No, okay. Well,
But-
I say we knock them out and tie them to a tree, and then
Let's,
forget that they ever existed.
Let's do we have something to
Bottom
gag
goes to
them?
camp and comes back with a hammer?
Do we have something to gag them with? Do I have
Sure, there's some
do we have
cloth.
like some cloth? There
Bottom
we go,
tears the
Bottom.
sleeve of his
Perfect.
shirt off.
Bottom,
Does this
we're
work?
gonna make 4 gags. We're gagging them all right now.
Okay. I don't know that I'm even going to make you roll for this. If it's 3 of you against 4 like 20-something elven girls who are
Already
completely
intimidated?
terrified.
Right.
Yeah.
If you tell them to sit there
Sit down.
and get tied up, they're
Yeah.
going to sit there and
Right.
get tied up.
With some gags on.
Yeah. I guess the only thing I will do is who is going to do the tying.
I'll tie.
Okay. I would like you to make either
Are you any good at it?
I would like you to make a sleight of hand check or a survival check. I'll let you choose.
Oh, we'll go with survival.
Can I assist?
Yeah, so
Oh, there you
roll at
go.
advantage.
19.
Okay, excellent. You feel very confident.
Roll it one more time just to
at
see if you get a
advantage.
natty 20.
No.
Okay.
You feel very confident in your knot work.
Yeah.
These girls are very securely tied up,
And gagged.
and also gagged. Yeah. How tied up are they? Let me. I want a sense of what condition you have put them in here.
Oh, well, they're not suffering, but they can't move their arms or legs.
Okay, so they
We
are.
haven't hog-tied them, but I have stopped them from being able to run away, and I've stopped them, and their hands are tied behind their backs.
Okay, so gagged,
Yeah.
hands behind their backs, legs tied together
Legs
so they
tied
can't
together.
get up
They're
and
all
run.
sitting, their legs are all tied together.
And then they're just sort of in a pile on the ground.
Yeah, they're in a pile. Well, I put them up against a tree, around a tree.
All right, so they're sitting up against the tree.
They are. They're not.
Are they tied to the tree?
They're tied to the tree, and their hands are tied to the tree. Their legs are all tied together, and then tied together around in a circle.
All right, so I guess I'm not getting this rope back.
They're not going anywhere. No,
They're not
rope,
going anywhere.
rope
Yeah,
gone.
they're tied around a very large tree so that they can comfortably sit there. We can.
3 of them are now openly weeping.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. That's what I tell them that. I know.
You should just level with them.
This
Just
is
be like,
very scary and hard. I'm very sorry for you.
I didn't want to do this at all.
Neither did I. But But here we are.
we
But
are.
don't worry, we'll treat you nicely. You're not in danger.
They'll treat you nicely, abandoning you in the woods.
You're not in danger. From us, anyway.
Yeah.
There happens to be several species of wild animal that are, well, they live in these woods. Good luck!
I'm going to stay with the girls. Even if I have to send the two of you on to deal with Mena and all of that, I'm going to stay with the girls.
Okay, so you are splitting the party then.
What? Oh, okay. I mean, if you want-
Guys, are you okay with that?
Yep.
it goes against
Here.
D&D.
Oh, D&D.
Oh no! I was just gonna say that that's like a running meme in D&D is like don't
Split the party.
Yeah.
But
just
no, but
one
we-
of us. Just
but we
one
can
of us
do
is
it.
gone. We're gonna.
We can do it.
Yeah. I will stay. I think it's important that the girls are away from her. And maybe.
Do you know where the sea caves are?
Well,
Like, will you be able to-
Because we're about 40 minutes away
You wouldn't know where the sea caves were though, because you're not
Oh, yeah,
like, from
'cause
the
you're not from
area
here.
or like
from there.
Do I need to?
I mean, you would
do we
have,
split?
you would
Do I-
certainly have a bearing,
I
but
propose that you go and that I stay. Just in case.
Do you know where the sea caves are?
I have no idea where this is. Well,
And nor do I care.
to say,
Do we still have our?
I
little-
can imagine that. Yep,
That
I
way.
have a general idea of where the sea caves are. I think that you two go ahead so that if anything that compromises my morals
What?
happens, that I have deniability. Otherwise,
Plausible deniability.
I'll watch the girls.
bottom got dark.
I
Yeah.
got dark.
All right. So
Do we still
Let-
have
so-
our little communication rocks?
We do.
yeah.
Okay.
And I
because-
hold one, and one of you holds the other.
I think
Okay.
I have.
Not me.
I think I have it.
Alright.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can then
Oh,
at least
perfect.
communicate.
Yeah, once
It only
per
works
day.
once per day,
That's
so
all right.
save your
used it.
message.
Saving it.
Does it work once each way per day?
It
I
works
think so, yeah.
once
Yeah.
per day. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I guess
I would imagine there'd be
as
an
I
exchange.
understood it, it's one exchange per day.
Yeah, well, that's probably how I would rule it.
Yeah.
Or one sending.
Not one. Okay, yeah, not one phone call though. Like not one back.
Right. And it's not a
Conversation.
phone call,
It's
definitely.
a
Right.
send
Not
one
that.
message.
It's
Yeah.
you send a message.
And you can get
And
maybe
then
And you can receive a
one.
message
It's like
back?
each stone can leave one voicemail
Oh,
per day
got it,
for
got it. Okay.
somebody else.
So when we get there, we can at least tell you where it is. We
Mm-hmm.
can leave that
Yeah.
on the message.
Okay. So Potom is staying here with the weeping tied up girls.
Goodbye,
and
girls. Be good.
the two of you are heading to catch up with Mena and Air. You've been walking for about 5 minutes. Anything you want to do before Mena notices that her friends are not with you anymore?
That's a good question.
Could we say something like, oh, like the Keepers of the Dawn are taking care of your friends or something like that. Say.
We could just tell her that we should be able to just tell her that like Potom took them back because they were
Because
injured,
they're
they were
irrelevant.
tired.
You
They're
are
not as
you are
important.
the
They-
you are the one that we are trying to protect.
That's exactly what
They're
you should
irrelevant.
say.
I
They're
also-
a liability to your safety.
Sorry.
They are a liability
They're-
to your
any
safety.
one of them could be a traitor.
Right.
Could be feeding
you go.
information.
I do
This
need
massive
one
conspiracy against
Dungeon
you.
Master rules
Clarification.
ruling here. Because I've stayed behind and my servant is with the rest of the
I was
group.
wondering about that. That was
Oh,
my question.
There is no rule on here that says range of how far away the servant can be from me.
Well, if there's no rule.
We're talking about a 40-minute walk at this point.
Yeah, but we've only walked. No,
Yeah,
we've
they're only
walked,
5
like-
minutes ahead of
We're
me.
only. We've
No,
only
no,
walked
no,
like.
no. I mean,
10,
we've
15 minutes.
we're talking like 40 more minute walk to the sea caves or
Right.
so.
Oh, yeah.
From
Yeah.
where
So-
from where we tied
The
up the girls.
separation's only 10 or 15 minutes.
I'm not super worried about it.
Okay,
I think
cool.
it's just gonna keep chunking along. It may run out of battery at some point. We'll worry about that. But if for at least the length of the time this charm spell is gonna go, I think.
If it is destroyed, the battery is the only thing that's left.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to say to her. What you need to say to her.
Okay. Yeah, I think she takes that in stride almost immediately. Of
course.
Of course they're irrelevant.
Yeah. Sure. Sure.
I'm so special.
Yeah. She doesn't think twice about that.
I'm so special.
Okay, you've probably got about 5 minutes before this spell fades.
Can we try to talk her into, like, because she's charmed, like, hey, for your safety, we need to make it look like, you know, to anyone who might want to kidnap you, like, we're on, you know, the same side. So if you could do us a favor and just go along with it, and we're going to tie your
sorry.
arms up.
I'm really sorry about this, but yeah, we are coming up to a place where people could see us. There's a checkpoint coming up here that we know about, and we need to make it look like we are in possession of you.
Yep.
Okay. So I'll remind you. She
Oh, it's to
sees
me.
you as
Oh.
a friendly acquaintance.
Not others.
These folks are strangers to her.
Right. Oof.
Right.
So if you want to pitch a story here or make an attempt, you can. I mean, you all can too, but there's going to be a
You know, like
different
whispering it.
reaction
Like,
here.
dude, try to get her tied up before this wears
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. What's the story though? Okay, look, there's a checkpoint coming up. We're gonna have to tie you up just temporarily. It's for image sake. We have to get past these hostile tribesmen people. These elves, these goblin. I don't know what's the story.
I think if she's charmed, we don't even have to be that convincing, right? We can just be like, look, there are like some bad people up here.
There's
And for us to get through
street bandits.
safely,
Yeah.
we're just, because she's not, it doesn't have to make sense to her, right? In the charmed state of mind.
All the charm spell does
It's just friendly.
is make air appear. She believes air is her friend, basically.
Okay.
So
Kristen, yeah.
So there is some trust there, but it doesn't like
not limitless,
muddle
yeah.
her intellect or make her
Okay.
believe anything air says. So if you were like, a magical dragon up ahead is going to eat us if we don't tie you up, she'd be like, that's dumb. I'm not
But I mean, it could.
doing
So,
that.
you know, maybe what you could say is, these are my people. Like, instill trust and, you know, you trust me. These are my trusted people. These are my two trusted.
These are my team. This is my team. These are my team. this
And my team wants to tie you up.
my team believes that this is the easiest way to get past this checkpoint. I think you should do it.
All right, make a persuasion check.
Okay.
I don't think I'm giving you advantage on this
Okay.
one because
I'm sweating so much.
the spell ends when you try to do something harmful, and this isn't quite harmful, so I'm not ending the spell, but this definitely isn't something
Borderline.
she wants to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll be fake knots. They're dummy knots.
Roll your persuasion check.
21.
Oh, big one.
Maybe the +6 coming in clutch.
Finally.
Finally.
She takes kind of like a deep breath and
Totally makes
looks at you and says, "That's weird, but I guess
The world's weird.
right?" And she puts her hands out in front of her like this for you to put your dummy knots on.
Yeah, dummy knots.
Dummy knots.
And
Straight
then-
up dummy knots.
And I grab rope from one of my teammates here, and I tie it
Okay. All right.
in a very
describe to me how you are securing her.
very securely, totally not a dummy knot, but basic square knot, not
I
going
feel
anywhere.
like Freya and I are in the background being like, really
Several layers
Gay girl.
Okay.
Gay girl.
behind it.
I'm sick of this.
So I know we're laughing about this, but I do need you to describe to me how you are restraining her.
Oh,
Like,
I'm gonna
how
act.
restrained is
I'm gonna
this
act very nonchalantly, but it's gonna be multiple times around the wrist, square knot, and then but
Just her
and
hands.
hands,
And feet
and
together.
feet and feet, unfortunately. Not hogtied, though.
Not hogtied. No.
So, are you securing her in the same way you secured her friends, and then you're putting her back on this homunculus? Or are you carrying her? Or is she
Feet
walking?
together, hands
Yes.
together.
Yes. Feet together, hands together, back on the homunculus.
Okay.
Yeah.
And gagging her?
Gag her.
No.
Gag her.
We will.
Gag her.
Plan.
She needs
Not
to
necessary,
stop. She
no.
needs to stop talking.
Okay. No, actually, we are going to get her.
Sounds good.
Like, I just make
This is just. It's okay. Just again. Oh,
She does not like that.
This
no.
makes no sense.
not so
She
much.
can't hear her own voice anymore.
Right.
So
I mean, once you have her hands and legs secured, it is an easy thing to gag her. And at this point, she is angry and squirming and staring daggers at you.
Yeah.
But she is restrained.
okay.
Okay. Well, that was uncomfortable.
Sorry,
but-
princess. I know
All
how
right.
it feels.
Continuing on your journey.
All right. Are we almost to the sea caves? What's going on?
I think you have like an hour, right?
Yeah. So you proceed for another hour, and only a few minutes after you get Mena restrained, the spell ends, and she once again starts flailing around and screaming through the gag and trying to pitch her body left and right, having a total tantrum. And she falls off the homunculus and is laying on the ground.
I pick her up.
Okay.
All right, you can stop that now. Or not. Here, I'll carry you.
Okay. Yeah, she's wiggling and flailing around. Okay. No problem.
So
You don't
try-
have to do any rolls. You're plenty strong to carry
Yeah.
carry this little elvish.
Picture her just kind of like over your shoulder,
Yeah.
just like
Yeah. Freaking out.
All right. Yeah. You firemen's carry her, and after another 30 plus minutes or so, you start to get near the cliffs that overlook the ocean and this part of the island. So you know the sea caves are below you, in the cliffs, embedded in the cliffs. And you see a figure approaching you from up on the cliffs. The sun is rising behind you, and so you can see fairly clearly from about 150 feet away a person that looks nearly identical to, well, looks fully identical to the three of you approaching
Excellent.
from a distance. And when they see you with a hog-tied Mena,
It's not hog-tied.
with a
Tied up.
secured Mena over your shoulder, they just sort of raise their hand in greeting and wait for you to approach.
We approach.
When you get there, a voice that you do not recognize says, "Oh, competent as expected. Follow me. Watch your step. Footing's rough." And they turn around and make their way through a little copse of trees, and immediately behind which you see a very narrow and winding path leading down the edge of the cliffs towards several of the sea caves. The surf is crashing in. The morning sun is kind of glistening off the water in the distance, but here where you are suddenly in deep shade, and it is very chilly as you make your way down. Mena has stopped struggling, but you do feel her shiver on your shoulder.
And I'm not insensitive to that. So I take her off my fireman's carry and I kind of have her in my arms. It's a little warmer that way.
Okay.
You embrace her.
Especially now that you haven't heard her talking for a
Exactly.
while.
I'm
You-
like nice and toasty.
She can't quite articulate it, but through the gag you hear, "Oh."
There.
And then the person guiding you that suddenly turns after about 5 minutes of making way down this path walks over to Mena and puts a blindfold around her face, just a big sheet of cloth, basically, and says, "Too many people come down here. You get it." And then turns around and makes his way back down, or their way back down. Takes several false turns. So 3 or 4 times you make your way 3-4 minutes down a trail, enter a cave, and then literally turn around and come right back out and make your way back up to the direction you went. This is a very circuitous path being taken to conceal where you actually end up. Until eventually you enter a large, sort of damp cavern with puddles all around it. And towards the back of that cavern, there's a little sort of area where the rock juts out in a way that at a glance you wouldn't be able to see that this is anything but the back of the cave. But as you come around that rock, you see that it actually leads into a much smaller cavern. This cavern is largely dry. It has a number of bedrolls laid out in it. A small fire is burning in the center of the rock floor, and there is a large iron ring set into the rock floor itself. He looks to you and sort of tosses his head in the direction of the bedroll and says, "You can throw her down there."
Okay. I place her down gently.
Okay. As soon as you do, he goes over to the iron ring, and you can see that there are several relatively thin but sturdy-looking chains attached to the iron ring. He takes one over to Mena and snaps what looks like a small shackle around her ankle. And at that point, he looks back at the 3 of you, and he says, "Our mutual friend will be pleased. You can visit him on the morrow for your payment. I got it from here."
We can stay if you want. Or we huddle. We powwow.
We're gonna step off to the side.
Okay.
We can make some kind
He just looks at you.
Yeah, that's good for him.
His identical face to yours.
Yeah.
Right.
Just
His dead
looking
eyes.
blank.
A doll's
Neutral, elvish face, just looking at you.
Cool.
I mean, do we trust that she'll be actually safe? If
We can
leave?
stay. What else are we gonna do?
What else are we gonna do?
We could tell Podum
That we're choosing to stay.
the eagle has landed. We're staying.
So I will remind you of some things that are
Fantasy
going on
book, yeah.
timeline-wise.
Yeah.
Tomorrow afternoon is the municipal council meeting.
Yeah.
The day after that, the magistrate is set to arrive
Yeah.
from the capital.
Yeah.
But apart from that,
Brilliant.
you don't have like a date or anything today. It is market day.
Oh, that's right. Oh, we never got that
Yips.
result, did we?
Miss Amazon Market Day. There's such good deals today.
There's always good deals at the market, at the promenade.
Not the problem.
I don't mind waiting. I don't even quite yet know what I'm gonna do or
Are we
attempt to
are we
do.
worried about the so council? So right.
We don't know who this
So it's like the
is.
morning. So tonight is the council meeting. No, tomorrow.
No, the next day.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah,
Tomorrow
because it's
evening.
morning
This
now.
morning.
Yeah. Wait. Sorry. So yeah, the sun has risen. The municipal council meeting is this afternoon.
Oh.
okay.
The magistrate arrives tomorrow.
Okay.
Right.
The sentencing is meant to happen
Tomorrow.
the day after that. The
And
magistrate arrives.
Got it.
right.
There'll be a day of
And Mena
setup and rest or whatever.
holding
And then,
is
yeah.
open ended. Based
Mena is going to be held until they pay.
paid. Yeah. Okay.
So it is. It could. You were told it could take a while, and
Yeah.
you're not expected to stay. She's going to be held here until they pay up.
So the meeting is this afternoon.
Yes.
In which
The municipal council meeting is this afternoon.
We're talking about like the dawn people.
Yeah. So remember the posters that were up?
Yes.
Yeah. The greeters of the
so
dawn.
that's
are,
a meeting that I would want to be at, considering
Sure.
I'm attempting to figure out how to. I have 0 plan.
We have 0 plan. So
Let's do this. I'm going to So you are powwowing off to the side about your plan, and what have you decided you're going to do?
I think we decided, and there was back and forth debate on it, but I think we decided, correct me if I'm wrong, that we care a little bit less about being there for like the municipal like meeting. What we were worried most about was that word of this kidnapping was going to get out and fuel the rhetoric of the Dawn's kind of messaging at this meeting.
Or reveal that they're at the sea caves.
Or reveal that, right? Like something was going to happen. And so we, at first Panda was kind of wanting to just be like, I'm done. Like I want to get to this meeting. And then we talked it through and decided that we would go back for Potom because we don't want the girls to end up kind of blowing the cover of what just happened. And I think that's where we're at. Heading back to Potom.
Okay. So
How long would it take us to get out of the sea caves? I know it was mostly like, we probably know where we are. It was mostly just to confuse her, right?
yeah,
So we're
I
going
mean,
around
it'll take you maybe 15 minutes to get back up to the cliffs.
Okay.
And so in total, probably an hour to get back to where you left Potom.
Okay. So it'd be like 2.5 hours that Potom would be.
So yeah, you left. It took an hour to get to the 40
3
minutes to get
hours.
to the sea cave.
Yeah.
What I would say, 40 minutes to get to where you went in the sea caves, and 15 minutes to get back out, and an additional 40 minutes back. So that 3 hours. That Potom is sitting there with the ladies.
And we're like, hey, we should just totally be like, oh, we got to that house. We dropped her at we should say something like, oh, we dropped her at that house. Where did we drop? Did we drop the feather?
Nope. You decided to hang on to the
We
feather.
decided to hang on to it.
I wanted to stop it.
Yeah. No, you did. I kind of agree with that.
Oh no, didn't we drop it like on the beach or something? Am I misremembering?
I'll have to go back and listen, but
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if we still have it or not.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't recall
creepy.
this stuff.
Right?
Yeah, that's great.
Because you shut that off.
I did, and then it turned right back on.
Weird.
Oh, you're back in the woods. That's why.
Yeah.
That's
You
right.
came out of the sea caves, and now you're in the woods.
I am
So,
curious, like, what was their dialogue when, like, you were hanging with the girls? Like,
Well, let's
well,
so
again,
let's jump
I
to that.
just
So,
half imagine that
Yeah.
there's going to be a little bit of role play.
yeah. So you all look at this dude, kind of wave and walk out.
We're not staying, right? I think that's
Peace
the
out,
decision.
man.
yeah.
Good
Alright.
luck, Benamina.
Off
tried.
you go.
Good luck. Try not to get killed. I mean, you'll be fine.
Okay. All right, off you go. So, Potom, you are left. Your group marches away, and you are left with 4 weeping elven maidens tied to a tree.
Well, so Potom starts a small fire, unties the ladies from the tree because they are bound by their feet and hands, so they're not going anywhere. Positions them all around the fire. Hits his little magic tinkering and creates a little clockwork aromatherapy of some lavender.
I was gonna say, do you have some chocolate chip cookie dough in there that you could cook?
And then as they are all, kind of sitting there around the fire, steps back so that everyone is within, sight. Steps back and goes, I know that I am in your debt already. But if by chance you're here and watching, I could use your help right now. Okay. And just goes back to the fire. And waits a moment.
Okay. You wait, and there does not seem to be any response to your query.
Okay. Being that I just imagine the Palm is someone who thinks out loud and goes, it seems like I will need to take matters into my own hands. So, with that, I thought I had this thought out. Thought that was going to work. I think that we will just wait for my friends to return. And if they don't return after several hours, then we'll take matters into our own hands.
Okay. Well, good news for these women. It sounds like after literally several hours, your friends do return. So roughly 3 hours later, they come kind of marching back in, still in their disguises.
They're sleeping.
Two of them are just exhausted from stress. Two of them are very much not. They are not like screaming or crying anymore, but they're pretty alert and consider themselves to be in danger still. So you're back.
Aromatherapy would have worked.
I mean, it didn't hurt.
All right.
So you are back together with 4 bound and gagged young elven women.
Here, we brought your thing back. Brought you your chair robot back. That was handy, Potham.
Potham gives it a little tap. Battery, disintegrates, and the battery he picks up and stows back away.
Well,
As you, I would like everyone to make an insight check.
Okay.
Mm.
17.
20.
6.
It's okay, you're tired.
18.
that charms most.
All right.
You
So
rolled how you needed to.
Yes, we did.
You all worked so hard, and as I've just been sitting here, I'm kind of still fresh.
So, Air, you don't even think about this, but the rest of you, as soon as Freya says what she just said, it suddenly hits the rest of you that you've now used Potham's name out loud in front of these 4.
Oh, yeah, killer. So.
And he's not in disguise.
Oh, that's
Great.
it too.
So now they have a name to put to the face.
Yep.
Hey, I'm not used to kidnapping. Okay?
For our first kidnapping, I think it was okay. Minimal mistakes.
Sorry about that, Potham. Since we've already said your name.
Well, I blend in so well. I'm sure they wouldn't be able to pick me out of the lineup
What should we do with these girls?
if there are such things.
Fantasy lineup.
Fantasy lineups.
What you doing with these girls, squad?
What are we doing?
Good.
with this?
What are we doing, these girls?
Good question.
I will say now it's early morning at this point.
Yeah.
The sun is fully up. It's probably 7 a.m. Maybe a little later.
How far away are we? Excuse me. How far away are we from civilization?
You're a good hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes from the gates of Chukip.
I say that we walk them as far as we can. The last leg of the journey, put them in the bag of holding, and get them back to our common friend and have him deal with them.
as the creator of the bag of holding, I will say without a roll that you know that there's only about 5 minutes worth of air for a single humanoid in the bag of holding.
1 hour's worth of air for a single human. So 15 minutes
is that
per
right?
4.
Could we do it?
You
Could I just try to deceive them and tell
Oh, yeah,
them that
64 cubic
all of
feet.
this was for the benefit of their friend? And so their friend will be at risk if they mention anything, but their friend will be safe
10 minutes.
if they don't.
You can try anything you want.
Right? Can I just try that?
Sure.
Because I'm trying to avoid like tying and kidnapping and all this stuff. I'm pretty fatigued from it.
You're telling me, sister.
Right?
The total amount of air in there is 10 minutes. That has to be divided by the number of creatures that are breathing in the bag. So 2.5 minutes. If you put
So
all
we
four
tell them
in
to
there.
hold their breath for an hour.
Try really hard.
For an hour.
Can I roll deception to see if they believe my story?
You may indeed roll deception.
Thanks.
Hmm.
It's not that great. It's a 14.
Not horrible.
Not horrible. I feel like they might kind of believe it.
I will also say, I mean, they listen,
Yeah.
but they are bound and gagged.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of hard for you to tell if they believe you or not. They nod.
Yeah, right. So we say it, and then can we potentially, since the bag of holding, which I would have been like a comfy little journey, but since we can't do that, can we do it like Lord of the Rings style, where we like, hey, like we have to blindfold you because you can't see the path, and like make them walk alongside with us.
Or we could Lord of the Rings style it and put them in barrels and float them
I
down
mean,
the
we
river.
could. We were literally watching Hobbit 2, like right before I came here. So literally watching it.
You're only missing barrels and a river for that plan. But otherwise, it'd be pretty cool.
All right. Well, I actually really think I could probably carry all 4 of them.
Yes, but where are we carrying them to?
Yeah,
We're
that's
carrying
weird.
to the town and have our mutual friend take care of this? I feel like that also might be costly.
Yes, that's mainly what I'm thinking too. I mean, we don't really have to be. You just have to be back for Trillium, right? And the magistrate.
Yeah.
I'm. You know, do we? I wonder what's going on over back at the castle. At the
I'll
fortress
offer you
that
one
they were at.
last little thing.
Yeah.
You did notice that back in the sea caves there were multiple bedrolls and multiple chains.
Oh, we just bring them back.
Yeah, let's just take
They were definitely expecting
more than one.
Yeah.
than one
Oh.
person.
Okay.
So if you're just stumped on where to put these girls
Let's just
and you
take
don't
them
want to
over
put them in
there.
a shallow grave in the woods,
I
that's
don't want to do that.
that's
Well,
also
let's
an
just take 'em
option
down there.
different than marching them through the front gates of Chakib.
I mean, whatever happens, happens. You know what I'm saying?
After all.
I mean, then we could also check in on what's going on with Mena.
It's true.
Just pop back in. Hey, hello.
Hello.
Just kidding, we're back.
Actually, I don't think that that's the worst.
Let's
That
just
this
do
is
that.
the worst how this has turned out because we can really kind of make a surprise check on how she's doing. I mean, you know,
Child
if
Protective
it is-
Services.
if it is some nefarious process, you know, or like, or we've left her with the wrong ones, we
That's
can
if the
come back
guy
and
is
see.
still there.
Well, we'll see, right?
What do we think is less risky, that or taking them back to the town?
Let's take her to the caves. I like that. I like checking in on what's going on unexpectedly.
All right, it sounds like that's what's happening unless someone
That's
has an objection.
No, we're doing that. I think.
Now let's walk them back.
Okay.
All right.
So you untie their legs, I assume?
I think we're totally missing this meeting though, because if the meeting was in the afternoon and this was like morning.
Yeah.
I'm not
we're
really
doing, like,
worried.
I'm
4
resigned.
hours.
Reading
I'm
some,
resigned
reading
to
some
that.
hours. It's
Yeah.
I'm not worried about the meeting.
all right, so you untie the girl's legs.
Are you worried about the
and
meeting?
I have no.
No, I'm
I
not.
don't think you have a stake in that game.
Yep, no.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the meeting is about.
All right, you're marching them back towards the sea cave.
Yeah.
Take them down the sea
So
cave.
currently they are bound by the hands and they are gagged, but their legs are not bound.
Yes.
They're marching fairly docilely. When you get to the top of the cliff, it's somebody make a survival check
I will.
to see if you can find the path
Do we each make
again.
it?
I need
There we
one
go.
person
22.
to make it. Yeah, no problem. So Freya bloodhounds her way right back to the place. You pass through the trees and you find a little path leading down. Anything you want to do before you head down the path?
Let's send somebody in first.
Like one of us?
Yeah.
Oh, I can walk in first.
Okay.
Am I just looking to make sure no shenanigans are going on?
You're just gonna go in and check in with our friend who looks like us.
Oh, yeah. I genuinely keep forgetting we have those masks on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll walk in and see if our...
Okay, you head down.
Still there.
Again, it takes about 15 minutes to make your way down the path and around to the correct cave, but you do find your way back in there. When you step in, the person who looks just like you, it has a crossbow pointed directly at the entrance and heard your footsteps as you came in.
Yeah.
And when he sees your face, pulls the crossbow back up and says, "The hell are you? Wasn't expecting anybody."
Is this the same person we were just talking to? Like when we dropped
Same
off?
voice.
It's the same voice.
Okay. Yeah. So we're back. We have a few more because we didn't know what to do with them, and we want to keep them safe with their friends so they don't blow your whole plan here.
Okay, weird.
And also, they've seen my face.
Bottom just like peeks his head out from behind.
And know my name.
You see over his shoulder that Menemena is no longer bound by the legs. I mean, she's still chained to this
Yeah.
rod, or this ring. Her hands are still bound in front of her, but she is not blindfolded any longer. She does have the gag in still.
I mean, anyone who spends time with her would do that.
And he says to you, "If you're going to bring more down, make sure they're blindfolded."
Okay.
Roger that.
All
Got
right.
more material?
Yeah, there's a bunch
Take
of
your other sleeve.
rags and
I believe we already blindfolded them.
I thought we just gagged.
No,
in
they were
hands.
just gagged.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
That's right. We used my.
All right, so we'll
Here's
fast
my
forward.
other
We'll fast forward this a little bit. You get the girls down and secured. They're blindfolded on the way down. They're chained up when they get in. He sort of starts busying himself, removing their leg restraints, removes their gags. At which Menemena's eyebrows go up, like, "What about me?" basically. And he looks at her and he's like, "You had your chance." And then back to the other four says, "Keep quiet and you'll be back with your mommies and daddies before you know it. But if you talk like this one, you're getting the gag." And all four of them just sort of go, "Okay." At which point he pulls out a backpack, which you see is loaded down with just some food. Pulls out a couple apples and starts slicing one up with a knife, and then looks back up at the four of you, zeroes in on Potom, and says, "No disguise, huh? Bold for someone who looks like you."
So Potom, where did your mask go again? Because I definitely got you one.
This is when all of you notice, and this time you don't have to roll for it, that Freya has now said Potom's name in front of this guy too.
Oh God. I love it.
Bottom just turns and walks out of the cave.
When did he lose his mask?
He tore it off.
Oh, he tore it
in the battle, early in the battle, in an attempt
Yeah.
to sort of distract or change the course of things, but unsuccessfully.
Well, I believe actions were taken.
A lot of actions. A lot of actions
a
were
lot
taken.
of actions.
All right, are you all departing then?
Yeah.
Okay, you march your way back up the cliffs, and at this point, it's getting to be late morning at this point, I would say. So you feel confident that should you take a brisk pace, you could make it back to Chew Keep by just a little after lunchtime. Probably be 12:30, 1 o'clock by the time you make it back.
I might even make it back in time for the meeting if it's this afternoon.
Very possible. Yep, it's sort of an after work kind of thing. Typically.
We walk.
All right. When you get back to the city, it's the middle of the day. Three of you look identical
Oh
Here
yeah.
I am.
to each other.
Actually, I'm going to give my mask to Bottom. Just to hold on to. Could you hold on to this? Because actually, since you're known,
I mean, he still has his
a
mask.
mask.
He just
Oh.
hasn't
Chooses not
been
to wear it.
wearing it.
Oh, okay.
I
So you
think
didn't rip it off and throw it away.
No.
No. Just removed it.
Okay.
air ducks into a alley to remove your mask. And
Yeah.
I think it looks more
Same.
suspicious if there's four of us all look, or three of us all look the same.
Yeah. Exactly.
Agreed. No, we're not like wanted in the city yet. So. And
You know, I'm really conspicuous, so I'm just gonna keep mine
That's
on
fair.
and walk around with you
That's
guys.
fair.
I'm kind of liking this.
That's fine.
So I can't actually go
No
anywhere, or
identity.
do anything ever, or have anything that ever happens to me because everyone can know who I am. So
Just can't have nice things.
can't have nice things.
Okay. Well, you're back in the city. Where are you headed?
Scratching post.
Scratching post.
Okay. All right, you wander back to the scratching post. As you walk up, you can see the lunch rush on a market day is in full swing. There's patrons coming in and out of the doors, and some good smells are coming out of there. And as you enter, you see Lily behind the bar. Looks like she probably just started her shift, and she gives you a nod and calls out, "Are you going to need a table?"
yes.
Or a room.
Do we like have like a perma room there?
No.
Okay.
You had a room for a couple nights,
Yeah.
but if you want to stay there again tonight, you will need to pay again.
So can you remind me of what the status is of our? Was everything resolved with our rug situation and our?
Oh,
Where
well,
are we at with that?
We don't know. We convinced Nips to, for an additional fee, make sure that they showed up in the marketplace. Although we
Yeah.
don't actually know if that was.
Was
You
that the
sort
day
of
before?
you sort of basically gave Nips her money back. I mean, not all of it, but
Yeah.
you
Good
gave
on
Nips
that.
a bunch of money to make sure that these
We
goods
kind of cut her in on.
get sold
Yeah.
in the marketplace ASAP. That was the agreement you made yesterday. Today is market day. The market is in full swing.
Could swing by the market.
Hey, yeah, let's do that. Actually, I really like the fact that I got this thing on.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't talk
She's
to
gonna
Nips.
beeline for Nips.
Don't approach Nips. Don't look at Nips. Don't speak to Nips. Do nothing with Nips.
I think that it's probably best that I stay behind because, well, I'm now known in more ways than one, and I don't.
Okay.
Are we gonna be leaving the city very quickly, Sandra?
I think it's time that we might be moving on.
Okay. Yeah, let's go by the market and see what's going on with this.
All right,
Works
so
for me.
Potom, you're hanging back,
Yeah.
and everybody else is headed to the market.
Yeah.
Okay, is that a first eating lunch kind of a situation, or you're
Oh, we're hungry.
you walked
Guys
in, asked for
hungry?
a table, and then you're turning around and going to the market?
Probably
Can I
starving.
ask
Bottom
an
gets
elf
a room.
question,
Yeah,
like
you
out
can.
of character?
Like an elf
So,
question.
I know, like we meditate, we don't necessarily sleep. What's the food situation? Like, do we need to eat and drink as normal, or is that like?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so probably we should grab something to eat then before
Sounds
we go
like
to
a
the
good
market.
idea.
Sure.
Yeah.
Plus, I do have I'm still at 9 hit points. Do we have like?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are a
short
little-
rest or?
You're not like at death's door, but you're all a little beat up
Yeah.
and certainly exhausted. You did not sleep last night.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
stayed
and we had a
all
battle.
night.
Bottom gets a room and eats lunch with his friends.
Okay.
2 silver.
Yeah, 2 silver for the room.
Okay.
All right, very good. A single night room and then dinner or lunch for everybody. Call it 4 silver total. So,
Okay. I already paid 2, so.
I'll pay 2.
Cover
Alright.
lunch.
all right. So you have a good old scratching post lunch. The scratching post, it does a lot of seafood, like a lot of places in Chukip, but it's basically this is like Wisconsin fish fry, kind of a setup. You got some thick dark bread, you got some fried fantasy cod, all that good stuff.
Nice.
And you finish up. Pam goes upstairs to relax, and the rest of you head up to the market. The promenade is busy today. It looks like a lot of people are out. On a market day where there's also a municipal council meeting and there's other things going on, you would imagine this is not quite like a town holiday, but it's certainly something that's pulling a lot of people into the city. And so you see a lot of people moving about. What is your approach when you reach the promenade?
I have a quick question first about this. So the mask that I'm wearing, is this like a generic mask that people would recognize is an actual mask of a generic quality?
No, this is an illusion.
Like a Jason
that-
mask.
No.
Yeah.
It's like very recognizable.
No,
Yeah, okay.
This is an illusion that makes you look like a male elf with very bland features.
Okay.
But that was selected by, like, that's, you can't just go to a store and purchase.
That particular face.
Yeah, they chose that, whoever
Would
chanted
people
it,
that
right?
look at me say, "Oh, they're wearing a mask"?
No, well,
Maybe some people, though, yeah.
I will say this: the person in the sea caves who was wearing the same one knew right away that you were part of the Yokogawai because that you were the people he was waiting for
Okay.
because you looked identical to him. So clearly, some people recognize these, but you would imagine that generally speaking, this is not like a common thing.
Okay.
For people to walk around wearing a mask that makes them look like someone else
Okay.
is not like a normal thing that normal people do. This is definitely an illicit behavior.
I don't know. I'm not from here.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
illusion
No,
for
no.
fashion is not unheard of in the Elden Empire,
Sure.
but this
Okay.
is
We're not
different.
gonna see there's not gonna be like 10 people there like, oh, they got a Yokogawai mask.
I mean, you
In the
better
market.
hope not.
Okay.
Well, but also
Right.
I would imagine that anybody that had a Yokogawai mask would be like,
Right.
we
Okay.
better keep this quiet.
True. And I guess what I'm sort of asking are my 2 comrades that know Chukip here. That wouldn't necessarily. I'm not conspicuous by wearing this mask.
No.
No,
Much
no.
less conspicuous than you
Than I
are
would
as
be
a
normally.
tall
As a
silver
tall-
dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's great. All right, sounds good then. I am game for the marketplace. I want to see what my little friend's up to.
All right, so 1 masked, 2 non-masked,
Yeah.
up to the promenade. How are you approaching this visit to the promenade?
Act cool,
Casual
right?
stroll.
Yeah,
Casual
Act cool, act
stroll.
cool.
Okay. Well, then why don't all 3 of you just make a perception check?
I feel
18.
a little silly for
18.
asking this, but are
12.
we currently being hunted by or tracked by anyone? Like prior to this whole kidnapping?
Not that we know.
No.
You mean like
Yeah.
historically?
I mean, like right now. Like,
Like this-
did we
I don't
piss
think
anyone
so.
off that I forgot about who's like looking for us?
No, I don't think that. Well, what about
You
well,
got
we,
your papers
this-
in check. You paid your money box and did
Right,
the
we
rub
don't
deal.
have anything crazy that's happened yet because we still have this other situation that's in limbo as far as trying to figure out if the stuff has been unloaded with Nell and all of that. And that
Yeah.
situation hasn't resolved itself yet.
Yeah, but
so-
no one's after us.
And we eventually have to go and get our money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get paid.
Yeah.
Your money box is like, baby.
Okay.
Not that she knows anything about that.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Well, the you got 16
19.
or 19. Sorry.
19, 18, and 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so a quick stroll through the market, and you, of course, immediately see Nips. Nips does not have any cloth out on her rug, of course, as she made very clear to you. Nips
she doesn't
sells
sell cloth.
knives.
Yeah.
But you do, with a 19, spot some of the cloth from your shipment being sold by another tabaxi merchant further up along the promenade. It has been re-rolled onto different shaped rolls, but you recognize a certain pattern that stood out to you, and so it is being sold here in the marketplace as you asked.
Perfect. Done.
Okay.
It seems like we're kind of like getting to the. I don't know. Are we planning on making a leave of this town soon?
I feel like getting out of
I
here.
feel like it's going to be about time, yeah.
My world's been like rocked. I'm very conscientious
But we need
of Lily
and
and
Trillium.
Trillium, sort of by proximity, which has me kind of tethered here
So
for a bit.
I kind of pull them over to the side here, so we're having a, just enough that it's just a very casual, quiet conversation over to the side, nothing. So we should probably go collect our money, which I know
Yeah.
you're wanting to do, and we'll hang around, I guess, for another night so that we
Yeah.
can see what's going on with Trillium
Yeah.
and try to figure out that situation. But yeah, I think maybe we need to get out of town here.
Yeah.
Anywhere in particular you think we should go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Or what are we trying to do here?
I feel
We're
like
trying
we
to
would
make some more
kn-
money.
The two of us, by being
No.
elves, would know.
Local
Yeah,
geography and.
right. But me,
Townships.
as Courtney, doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, let's circle back to that discussion a little later. First, if you're heading back to the scratching post to meet up with Potom, I assume.
Something.
No, I totally forgot that I brought these along with me, and
Got up and came back and was like,
they've been
"Ta-da!"
sitting there this whole time. I brought some samosas for us to enjoy. So if you'd like a
You're
veggie
so
samosa, they're here for you.
Seriously, I don't think I've eaten since yesterday, so thank you for the
gosh.
foods. It's been an adventure.
Bombay sweets.
You guys are so
Cafe
kind.
India.
Oh, okay.
So back at the scratching post, you reconvene with Potom up in the room that he rented,
I accidentally rolled something. Sorry, guys.
and you kind of go over in your head the situation as you know it. So you have, as far as you know, have successfully completed the mission given to you by Mach 2 and can, when you're ready, head to the safe house to collect your payment and let him know that you've done the job
The real safe house.
that the real safe house
actual.
that he's asked of you. You believe you've completed what Nell the Knoll asked you to do, because those bolts of cloth are now for sale in the marketplace, and so there's a payment due there at some point of 30 gold pieces. You also were told, this was quite a ways back in game time just a few days ago, but for us real humans, many weeks ago, you were given sort of a monologue by Wadi Wadi Hanzo when you ended up meeting him alone in the safe house about his desire to make change to the empire from within, in trying to cure the sickness in what is actually a good society but a broken system, and so on and so forth. And all of that ended with him inviting you to reach out to him if you want to help him in some of those ways. So basically, he's got work for you, but is going to wait until you reach out, which you can do by sending a courier to his home, to House Hanzo. And then last but certainly not least, in about an hour, 2 hours probably, people will start to gather for the municipal council meeting, which is held in a fairly large meeting hall. It's actually a converted warehouse. It's as close to a municipal hall as they have here. It's like an event space, sort of, very informal, but it's right on the border of the docks area and the mercantile district, and it is big enough to hold hundreds of people, sort of standing room only, and they usually set up, because you've been to these, they usually set up sort of a generic stage when they do things like this. So that's probably about 2 hours away.
Should we
So that's what's going on.
go to the safe house and collect our money?
Yeah, Air's all about the money right now.
Let's do it. So when do we take could this be considered like a short rest? That would.
You could definitely take a short rest here.
But we wouldn't be able to continue toward the safe house. Like we'd have to stop.
A short rest is basically like you sit down, you bandage some wounds, you eat some food, drink some water, catch your breath.
Oh, did
It's
we
like
just
30
do that at
minutes.
the scratching post? Because we
We
got
did
lunch
that.
and
Yep. Yeah, you
So
can
I
take-
didn't hit short
You can definitely
rest.
do a short rest. So if you want to heal on a short rest, as a reminder, you use hit dice to do that. And
I have healing capacities, which would be
So does
cure wounds, and you do too. Yeah, and healing word.
You can roll dice too.
yeah, when you roll a hit die, when you use a hit die to heal, you roll the die that's appropriate for your class, and you add your Constitution bonus,
Oh,
and you heal by that much.
okay.
Okay, so 8. Oh, okay, so I'm
And
healed
hit dice
up.
are consumable, just like your spell slots. They come back with a long rest.
Oh, I see here.
Well, half of them come back with a long rest.
If I'm 13 and 14, just asking from more experienced players, would I want to waste a hit dice, or would I want to keep that
Might
in
as well.
case?
I mean,
How much damage have you taken?
Well, so I'm 13 and 14 right
Oh,
now.
13 of 14. I mean, depends what you think's coming.
I never know with you.
That's true. I guess what I would say is if you were in a dungeon crawl right now and you're like, I don't know when the next time is we're going to see daylight or get
Yeah.
a chance to take a long rest, then I'd be preserving those very carefully
Yeah.
because they are a limited resource and sometimes your only way to heal.
Yeah.
You're in town, staying in a room in an inn right now.
Okay.
So unless you expect to get in a series of serious fights
Well, again,
in
I
the
never
next
know.
24 hours, I don't know.
Sorry, where are those housed? Because you said they're consumable.
So when you click short rest,
Yeah.
the dialogue window that pops up will have little empty boxes just like your
Oh,
Spell
and I
slots.
just click one of those.
click one of those
Okay.
and you have to manually roll the die for it. For a druid, I
D8?
think it's a D8 and then plus your constitution.
I'm so sorry.
So 3 plus
12.
3 plus 1. Your
3 plus.
modifier.
Oh, not the big number that's in here.
No.
3 plus the modifier, so 4.
Mhm.
Yep.
Do I get my point back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Do you
when
get
you
your-
click out
your
of
what
there, it
back?
should be filled up.
My 1.
Yeah, you healed for
Yeah.
4. So you healed for 1.
Yep. So you just go back to 14 out of 14.
Okay.
Okay. So you were headed to the safe house, it sounds like.
Yep.
Very good. All right, off you go. It doesn't take you a really long time.
Are you gonna wait for us here?
well, you guys are going to the municipal meeting.
No, they're going to the safe house to get paid.
Oh, No, I'll throw the mask on and go with.
So there's two of us that look alike.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just stand apart in a group.
Right.
Sure, that's fine. All right, it doesn't take you long to get to the safe house. At this point, you know more than one entrance to some of these sewers and tunnels, so you don't have to march up through the busy promenade and go behind the flowers gate or anything like that. And you find yourself in about 30 minutes in the safe house. Mach 2 is there when you arrive, and actually Tanbu is leaving as you enter, and he kind of looks up at you for a moment and then kind of shakes his head as he sees the two of you and recognizes you, and he says, "Oh, good, you're back. I was worried. I'm glad you're safe. Did you do a good job?"
I mean, we did the job.
We did the job.
Okay.
I don't know if we can use that word.
And then he runs off down the passageway, clutching a leather bag as he runs off. And when Mach 2 hears your voices, he looks up and says, "So it's done then?"
It's done.
Good. And thank you. I realize you were hesitant. This is dirty work at times.
Air pipes up. What are you talking about? It was our pleasure.
Well,
Any way we could help you in the cause.
We've got a bigger problem on our hands.
Pot and bean.
go,
I'm usually assertive.
go on.
Pot leans back.
I have
She just narrates this.
a problem because I have a House Edo in my thing. The princess was part of
Kieran.
Kieran.
House Kieran is dabbling with technology that they do not understand. And they're vying for power in the district.
Panda's mouth drops.
Clang.
Who they're dealing with, I do not yet understand. But the technology, I do understand. And they don't yet have it correct, but they are drawing nearer to what they need. I have given them a considerable setback to how I understand it. Yet, I was helped in ways that I don't understand. And let's just say that the technology is not secure.
Where did you come by this information?
I have my ways, and let's just say I have an acute understanding of the technology that they are trying to develop.
I see. Well,
Serious stone man.
without all the details, it's hard for me to know for sure how to react to this, but it sounds concerning. And I'm glad that you have trusted me with this warning. I will put some of our sources to work trying to better understand what Kieran is attempting to do. And
The son of Kieran is locked on the property, attempting to develop this technology.
which son of Kieran?
The bad.
That one.
So I'll remind you out of character
Tall
that they faked his death in a
Ooh,
Oh,
in a shipping accident, or like at sea, an accident
wow.
at sea
that's dramatic.
years
So
ago.
dramatic.
Well, 6 months ago.
he who no longer remains.
You shall not be named. Voldemort Kieran is honest.
Whoa! Whoa! You used his name.
Say nothing.
That's great.
That's funny. Hansa Kieran is,
Oh, that's right.
is his name.
I had that written down on an envelope in my bag.
So at this, his eyes get wide. Hansa was reported dead 6 months ago, drowned at sea. And you are telling me not only does he live, but he is imprisoned in his own father's house?
And he believes that once he completes this task for his father, that he shall be seated at the right hand.
That's so coded.
At this, he he looks disgusted and almost personally angry, and he says, "Ugh, Kieran, that man never ceases to surprise me with the disgusting depths to which he will go for power."
Hansa relayed to me in a thought process that he had in information that we exchanged that his father is vying for power in the region.
This I knew, but I didn't know how. The attempt that you completed today, which I assume by your presence here was successful, was meant to slow some of the wheels that he has been turning. But I didn't yet know what he was attempting. I just knew he seems to need an awful lot of money to make it happen. Whatever he's doing is expensive.
This technology that I speak of could change the balance of power immensely.
The three of us are just like watching this conversation.
Mouth is still open.
Seen things like this before. I didn't think I was going to need to
So
gonna
recently,
be involved in politics.
Again, I have done my best to slow the process, but being one of intuition and talents, my notebooks only hold so much. This is the real tool.
Well, I knew he was working on something. But to be honest, we thought it was just another of the typical nobleman's power plays, that he would consolidate power, buy up more land, try to move to a city of greater influence or closer to the emperor's eye. But it sounds like you're talking about something dangerous.
I'm saying that with this technology, he could be the emperor.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum!
Gasp from everyone.
So he's got a look on his face that is, while not convinced that what you just said is possible, that he is taking you very seriously. And he says, "My friend, if that is true, then our strategy may need to move in reaction. The price on the girl will need to go up. And
well, there are other girls out there too, so you could.
they're irrelevant."
Like, come on, one girl, another girl.
You have a platinum piece, and then you got a couple of copper pieces here, so I mean, you could get some extra money.
Well, they've got to be nobles too, right?
I mean,
they're
yeah.
not servants.
No, they're not servants. They're not servants. But he does say
Casually offered.
those girls are from a set of houses that they just can't command anything significant. And besides, as I tried to make clear before, it's not about the money. other than it is about denying Kieran the money.
Oh,
So,
I thought it was about the money.
well, of course, you will be paid. And at that, he reaches into a pouch. So he's sitting on the desk that you've seen Wadi Hanzo sit behind before. He's just sort of sitting on the front of it, like a chair, leaning on it. He leans over behind, pulls out one of the drawers, and pulls out a sack. And inside that sack are smaller pouches. And he tosses one of those pouches to you. It sort of clinks heavy in your hand, and you know the sound. This is the sound of platinum pieces clinking together. And he says, 500 as we agreed. I will receive confirmation later tonight that the girls are safe and secure, but I trust you. You wouldn't come back here had you not done the job. In the meantime, I have people to speak to and things to do, but I will need
about that.
I was gonna say, I have something to ask too.
Not that I particularly have a large value in shiny pieces, but I did provide you with a substantial amount of information.
Are you asking me to be paid for this warning?
Potham pulls the book out and goes, or I could give this back to them.
What
Are we
is,
blackmailing?
what is that?
Are they extorting?
It just happens to be the notes that I have taken from Hanzo.
Well, that
I think,
Hanzo.
yeah.
Hansa, yeah. Well, that's a different discussion. If you are looking to sell intelligence, yes,
I'm
I
not
would
going
pay
to
you for that.
I am not going
Nope.
to sell you this notebook because this technology needs to stay with the one who developed it. As he slides it back into his bag.
Well,
But
then,
again,
then in that case, your threat to return it to House Kieran doesn't seem to carry a great deal of water.
yes, but again, I did give you the warning of what House Kieran is going to do.
You told me House Kieran is working on dangerous technology, and that the threat seems more significant, but you have yet to give me any details about what this technology does, how I can disrupt it, what it will allow them to accomplish. You just said it's very bad and he could become the emperor. So unless you can give me something more useful, I don't really see that it has financial value. I am grateful that you trusted me with this intelligence, which sounds like was difficult to come by. Frankly, the information about his son is shocking, confusing, and disgusting. But I have no intention of going to rescue him. Perhaps we could float a rumor that this is going on and disrupt his reputation. I'm just not really sure what you're asking me for here.
I am sure that your people have observed my friends and our actions, and particularly the spectacular things that I can do to the end point that I use them for good. The present mission aside, as I used my goodness for your agenda, my abilities can be turned into horrible weapons, and that is what House Kieran is attempting to do with an unseen force. So, either you heed my warning
I'm so glad we got paid before this whole conversation.
and you tell me what you're going to do about it, possibly provide us a few funds to assist us along our way. Or I'm going to have to tackle this task alone, or continue to tackle this task alone. So simply, I am.
It seems now, my friend, that you are asking for something very different. If what you are asking for is help to disrupt House Kieran's efforts to acquire dangerous weapons, my answer is, of course, yes. That disrupting House Kieran, and frankly, all of the noble houses of the Empire, is exactly what we are about here. I think you know this. And so if there is danger afoot, of course, we need to act. But I do not have a plan right now. You just gave me this information. I assure you that once we come up with a plan and decide what we can do, you will be involved. I have come to trust your abilities, as you say, and you apparently know more about this than anyone. So, of course, I will be looking to leverage you in this effort, and I will bring whatever resources I can to bear. If that needs to include gold pieces, so be it.
I would start looking towards one who is titled the Mantis Queen.
The three of us are just like, what?
Yeah. And he's very confused by that too, but at this, he does reach down and grab like sort of a beat up leather notebook, and he scribbles down some things in it and says, "That is a name I have never heard, but
Mantis.
I will do my best to learn more."
Also, I need to keep this mask.
Well, same. I was.
I'm a known figure as he turns to Freya.
Does
Hey,
two identical
I-
elves look at each other?
Rip off your mask.
Yeah, but you didn't say my name.
These-
No.
These masks are not, well, first of all, not inexpensive, and second of all, not something that should be used frequently in the city. The value of these masks diminishes quickly if they are noticed, because I cannot change them. So if these become familiar faces in the city, they become worthless to our efforts, and they cost us thousands to acquire. I am going to need them all back, or a very good reason why you cannot return them. This is not an insignificant request.
I was just gonna keep wearing mine and walk out.
I've given you invaluable information, and again, I happen to be a marked individual.
I empathize with your circumstance.
So, either something can be done, or I need to leave the city, and your flow of information, especially to what this technology is and does, ends.
I understand. I can leave you with one mask for your party to keep on our behalf. We'll need it back at some point, or you could make a donation to the Yokogawa in the amount of 500 gold pieces, which
No.
is what these masks cost to produce.
We'll just borrow it.
We'll just borrow one mask for now.
But if you
Here's
need-
mine.
Thank you. If you need to keep it until the heat dies down, I understand. I would like to keep the four of you not only safe, but ready, as it sounds like we will very much need to act again soon.
On that whole ready and helping note, I have to get somebody out of jail who is wrongly accused.
That is a tall order. I am going to assume that somebody is not an elf.
Very much so not. So it's one of these other people that you are hoping to help and trying to help, and your whole mission is to help.
Yes, and I very much wish to do that. However, breaking someone out of the jail of Chukip under the nose of Blades is a very different thing than smuggling slaves who are free to walk around the city, putting them on a ship and getting them out.
What about convincing? Do you have anybody that could do some convincing that this person did not commit the crime?
What if the twist is she did?
Oh, that would suck.
That would be amazing.
She has an alibi. Lily told me they were together.
There is an advocate who has, from time to time, spoken up for the non-elves of the city. I will say his track record is poor, as you can imagine. Not for lack of skill, but you've been here your whole life. Have you seen many non-elves receive justice in this city?
Not many.
The advocate's name is Avery. You probably want to talk to Wari Wari for an introduction. But if you truly wish to attempt to persuade the magistrate when they arrive of the innocence of a non-human, he is likely the only advocate in the city who would stand for one.
Would it have influence if I did too, because I'm an elf?
It seems unlikely, unless you possess evidence that you could bring to bear.
Not really.
Yes. Well, you're...
Just my blood.
Yes.
My blood saying, hey, this...
I can assure you that it will be other elves speaking against this person. Most likely the Greeters of the Dawn, who have apparently started to garner some influence in the city.
Gotcha.
So your word against the word of a merchant or others of influence, don't know what I can offer you here, but talk to Advocate Avery. I am no master of the law. There is one other thing. As you have now time and again proven your trustworthiness and your utility to the Yokogawai, I am not a master of the law, but I am a weapons master. And some of you bear weapons that I am intimately familiar with. And some of you look like you could hold your own in a fight, but perhaps are a little green to this whole scene. Should you ever wish to spar and practice, I would be happy to teach you a few of the things that I know. As you have now seen, I generally do my exercises just outside the city. I begin at dawn. Feel free to join me. The invitation remains open. I cannot promise it will be painless. My lessons certainly were not.
Quick reminder on the timeline. So while we were doing this, the council meeting was happening or had happened earlier?
The municipal
Still
council
has
meening
not
has
happened?
not yet happened.
Oh, so it's not yet.
But it's
Okay.
probably very close to starting at this
Yeah.
point.
Right.
You would imagine people are gathering there now.
I'm interested to see what happens in the council meeting. If we
Samesies.
can.
I want, yeah.
Well, I don't think I should show my face there necessarily.
I also don't think that I should show my face there.
Do you guys
Or
wanna
this
go?
face.
Either face.
Either face.
No faces.
I'm so two-faced.
So Wari Wari Hanzo left, right? He's no longer here.
He is not in the safe house right now. He is. The last time you saw him was a couple days ago, and he told you that if you want to speak to him, to send a courier to his
That's right.
compound, and that he'll invite you.
Can I ask who I'm speaking to now to send a courier? Or do I need to go into the city and get a courier?
I mean,
his?
you could ask Moktu to do that for you, but this is more like hey boy, come
Okay.
here. Here's
Sure.
here's
Here's
a
a
copper
copper,
piece to
yeah.
run this
Okay.
note up to the city.
So maybe
Buffalo's
as
there.
we're
Yeah, that's a good
As
one.
we're
as
stepping
we're heading
away.
to the
Yeah.
the
think-
municipal meeting.
Well, because we have a little, we come out of the safe house, but we're in the sewers for a little ways, right? Where we
Yeah.
can have a little privacy,
Yeah, you've
maybe
got some
divvy up
time.
our spoils.
So here are money.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you have received 50 platinum pieces. That pouch contains 50 platinum,
Okay.
which is the equivalent of 500 gold pieces.
Nice.
Your box is buzzing.
Oh yeah.
All right,
Right
so what is that? You got a calculator there?
I do, because, you know, math. 500 gold pieces? That's four.
Well, we have 50 platinum,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
yeah.
So it's gonna be
125 each.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, right. It's like there's,
I thought you were good at that.
do we
You
have
got
to
this.
keep it in the
I-
platinum equivalent, or can we put it in the gold equivalent? Does it matter?
It doesn't particularly matter to
Oh,
me.
We swing by the
So-
bank.
No, whatever,
Exchange.
So,
whatever,
125 and
whatever
Just
you
'cause
prefer.
it's
If you want to be
easier.
immersed in the fantasy of having
Make change.
12 platinum pieces and 5 gold pieces,
Oh, maybe I'll do that. That's kind of fun.
I'm cool with that. Whatever you
I'll
want.
just take my 125. Okay, so we have this. All right, and you're gonna send a message to the advocate.
Yeah.
And to.
Well, I'm going to send a message to Wadi Wadi Hanzo and say that I'd like to talk to him ASAP.
Okay. And yeah, we'll head back to the
Yep.
scratching post.
Okay, very
Have to
good.
get a
Person whose name I'll never say again.
Yeah. You there.
You.
You.
Hey,
we won.
we won.
You there, boy. Okay. Very good. So you all are headed to the municipal council meeting. You all are headed to the scratching post. On the way to the municipal council meeting, a sort of dock rat kid runs up to you, Air,
Okay.
and hands you a pouch, and then runs off.
Oh boy.
In that pouch are 30 gold pieces and a note, unsigned, that just says, "Thanks."
Oh no.
That's it. You all arrive at the scratching post, and as you walk in, it is happy hour, basically. It is busy. It is market. The market has now closed. The market has wrapped up. Make a perception check, each of you, please. Just
Even those of us who are
no,
not the scratching
just
post.
at the
Okay.
scratching post.
Passive perception or actual perception?
You can give me your passive, I guess, if you want.
Okay.
But if you'd like to roll for it, you can. I'll give you the.
5.
I'll give you the better of the two.
Oh, well then 13.
Okay. Yeah, that's enough. This is not like a big secret. What I will just tell you is, Nips is not in the bar,
Okay.
and
Freya is
that's
disappointed.
unusual
Nips.
because every other market day that you've been in here, Nips has been at that same table as soon as market closed.
Drinking his money.
Drinking.
Then market's closed.
The market's closed and Nips is not here. So we are cutting over to the municipal council meeting. As you get down there, a couple things are noticeable to you immediately. So first things first, there are a lot more people in attendance today than you are accustomed to seeing. It has been some time since you've seen the sort of meeting hall this full. There are quite a few people outside as well. The other thing that you notice is that those posters that you saw are everywhere down here. And there are also flyers that are very similar that are being passed out by some, again, street kids who look like they've been paid to do so, trying to shove one in the hands of every person who, or every elf, I should say, who enters the building. There are non-humans here in attendance as well, quite a few of them. But the other thing I would say that Pando, you notice more than Air, is that there are a lot more nobles here than you would expect to see at a municipal council meeting. Not the highest of the high,
Sure.
but this has drawn a different crowd. Usually for a municipal council meeting, the majority of people who roll up are like mercantile district, live-in, middle class kind of folks. There are, maybe some blue collar docks people who would come in and complain about X, Y, or Z, or offer some ideas or whatever. But people don't come down the hill very often for these. The counselors are nobles, by and large, but there is a surprising number of people from households here today. So those are the things I would say you notice as you walk in. The meeting is just getting started as you kind of push your way into this big room. There's easily 500 people in here. It's probably the biggest gathering Chuquip has seen in quite some time.
Oh, okay.
And it's hot and crowded and loud. And the councilman sitting in the center, you know him to be the leader of a minor house. Sitting on this council is not considered to be prestigious for nobles. It does give them some financial benefits in the city and some influence, but you would only jump on this if you were a very minor noble house and were trying to
Serious has a bigger fish to fry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For
So
your own ego.
there's definitely no one from House Kieran sitting on this council.
Well, no,
They would
they're busy building doomsday technology.
the houses at that level would see this as very much beneath them. But as you walk in, you see this guy pounding a shaped stone on a block up at the front. It makes a sort of magically enhanced clack, tuk, 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 and the room falls relatively silent as the meeting is called to order. And I'm not going to monologue out the whole of everything that's
please
said in this council meeting.
Dang, that's
But I will.
No Robert's Rules, Dungeons and Dragons stuff?
But I will tell you, after the sergeant at arms has finished reading the roll, that what you notice is that the agenda that the council is working their way through is front loaded with very normal stuff. It's shipping, taxes, and property disputes and other things, and the crowd is slowly but surely growing restless with this. And you, in fact, either of you can make a perception check as well here, or an insight check, whichever you prefer.
I can do it.
16 insight.
Okay.
Should I do one as well? 16 twins.
Did you roll insight or perception?
I did insight.
Okay. So
So insightful.
yeah. So both of you, here's what you pick up on. You don't pick up on how it is happening or what is driving it, but you pick up on the fact that this crowd is artificially getting more restless faster than you would expect. There is something.
It's being tampered with.
There's something happening that is getting people antsy, and you're starting to hear people yell out like, "Get on with it!" or "Why are we still talking about this garbage?" The crowd is growing impatient for them to get to what they believe this meeting was really supposed to be about. There's a lot of, there's a lot of that. And after about 25 minutes of this, the head councilman finally clacks his sort of gavel stone again and says, "I will have order in this council meeting. I understand that many of you are here to speak about an issue you feel is very important and even urgent, and I must say I do not disagree. However, business must still be completed. But if we cannot have order, we will move to the issue on everyone's mind, and so I hereby move that we adjust the agenda to move forward the petition from Citizen Fane. And at this, you see a robed elf, tall, sort of wiry, with fiery red hair just past his shoulders, leaps up onto the sort of stage, stands in front of the table where the council members have been sitting, like he's just been waiting for this moment. Like he was prepared to make a grand entrance. And as he does, he turns to the crowd and with a sweep of his arm, a very theatrical sweep of his arm, he says, I am humbled and honored to come before this council and, of course, all the good citizens of the Empire who have joined us this evening. And at that, there's actually a cheer that comes up from the audience. But you notice with that same insight check, the only people cheering are elves. No non-humans are cheering this man. He goes on and says, first, I should introduce myself. I am Rostero Fane, a proud citizen of the Empire and a humble servant of the greeters of the dawn, the defenders of the core of civility and goodness in this empire. We are traveling across the empire, burning out the seeds of corruption that are growing in our precious Dawn Emperor's sight, as an extension of his will. And I am grateful for the opportunity to speak to this council and to all of you good citizens about a danger that is creeping through our lands and has sadly found its way here to your dear city of Chukip. Even pastoral Chukip, isolated as it is, feels the stain of this corruption as it grows. Now, many of you already know what I am speaking about, but of course I am talking about the growing violence across our empire. From a dangerous group, not always easily identifiable, miscreants, thugs, criminals who are haunting our streets, not respecting what the Emperor gifts us, but instead deriding his name, spitting on his image. I came on the fastest ship I could find to Chukip when I heard word of the series of attacks that have been made on good, law-abiding citizens of Chukip. And I am here in defense and, in addition, with a proposed solution. And at this, another cheer goes up, and you hear cries of, my sis got attacked! Yes, I heard about that. Terrible. And they still have not caught the one who did that, but I heard the scratches were deep. Now, I come here not to present bigoted or prejudiced ideas about how the world works. In the great Elden Empire, all are welcome. All who follow the law. All who do as the Emperor bids, who welcome the opportunity of his grace. And yet some refuse. Some fall prey to their baser natures and lash out at those who attempt to help and support them. And this is what, my friends, we must put a stop to, not only for the safety of ourselves, our businesses, and at this he looks at a few merchants in the room and on the council, but also of our children, and he looks at a couple of the female members of the council. We must keep all of them safe, but also not just for them and for us, but for the good of those who are lashing out. Certainly, they do not want to harm others, but in some cases they cannot stop themselves. It is who and even what they are. So by the grace of the Emperor, I bring a solution. In the grand capital city, under the eyes of the Dawn Emperor himself, has begun a new treatment, a new solution to this problem of primal violence. It is known as becalming, and it is a simple and beautiful solution. No one enjoys the thought of brutal punishment, and so many brutal punishments have needed to be used over the years in the Empire. Thieves having their hands or paws chopped off. Violent attackers being killed or even exiled. None of this need continue because the Dawn Emperor and the greeters of the Dawn have worked hard to develop a solution. The process of becalming removes the violent instincts, calms the soul, and returns what was once a violent and dangerous offender to the streets as a productive member of society. Not a citizen, of course. We cannot reward criminals, but we can certainly return them into the arms of the Empire, safe from themselves and others. And at this, another cheer goes up from a smaller group this time, all elves, many of whom aren't familiar to the two of you. And a few people kind of pick up the cheer and go along with it, but he's clearly got a core here that is in the crowd planted to encourage this. But a lot of people are just looking curious, and a lot of the non-humans are looking deeply concerned. And with that, Thane turns back to the counselors, and he says, "And so at last I come to my petition. I most humbly submit that on the morrow when the royal magistrate arrives to deliver the Emperor's justice to those criminals awaiting it in your jail, that you present and approve the use of becalming as a solution in place of the more violent and brutal punishments traditional on your books, as a show of mercy and progress here in the Empire. And conveniently, myself and several members of the Greeters of the Dawn are skilled in this practice and are available and at your disposal to execute the Emperor's justice, should the magistrate decide that this is the appropriate path. I will return the meeting to you, and once again, I thank you." And at this, he turns back to the crowd and says, "Long live the Dawn!" And again, the crowd, primarily of elves, cheers loudly. And he steps off of the stage. The meeting is abuzz at this point. A lot of conversations overlapping one another. But the head councilman, looking a little flush, slams his rock one more time and says, "Enough! We must put this important proposition to a vote. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this subject before the counselors and I make our decree?" At this, someone does speak up. A tabaxi named Meeks, who is...
Well, didn't we meet Meeks?
I was gonna say, I think that's.
You have not met Meeks, but
familiar.
you all are familiar with Meeks, because Meeks occupies an interesting place in Chukip society. Meeks is a tabaxi, is the most successful non-elf merchant in Chukip, owns a number of businesses, and has positioned herself as a a nearly essential figure in the commercial comings and goings of the city. A lot of the trade that comes into the city goes through Meeks, and she is the owner of a number of the establishments around town that handle things the noble community would consider essential, different luxury goods and things of that nature. Meeks speaks up. Meeks is not on the council, but is sitting up near the front where she's frequently seen. And she speaks up and says, "I've heard nothing of this becalming, and many rumors pass through my halls. Is it wise for the council to act so precipitously about something so new, so unknown, so uncertain, on the word of one citizen?" And at this, there are boos and jeers from a now fairly recognizable to you small core group of folks who have come along with Rostero Fane. And Meeks takes it calmly and just goes on to say, "I abhor violence as much as any, and I do not enjoy the prospect of brutal punishment. However, we have not even heard what this becalming involves. To add a punishment to the legal books is not insignificant, and I am concerned that many of my employees who help provide the essential services of this community could be put at risk by such a fast-moving legal process." At this, Rostero Fane pipes up from across the room and says, "No law-abiding citizen or resident of Chukip need be concerned. If you do not break the law, there is no risk. And you will be pleased to know that those becalmed can return to work as productive members of the Empire." And at this, some of the merchants in the room and one or two on the council sort of nod to each other like, "Oh, I think you can still put them to work." Oh, that's great. And at that, the councilman in the center calls out again, "Very well, we have heard arguments to both sides. Is there any other comment of note before we put the matter to a vote?" So be it.
Regular people ask.
This is like a town hall meeting. People can shout out, stand up. They can do whatever they want.
Okay, so Pando stands up and she goes, "Can you tell us what it is? What is the becalming?"
Of course. Rostero Fane now jumps back up onto the stage
Of course.
in front of everybody. "A concerned citizen with an intelligent question I am pleased to share with you. The becalming is a magical process. It operates on the mind, providing a soothing balm for the fiery emotions that live inside of all of us, to be frank. We have all felt the burn of anger or frustration in the moment, but of course, some are weaker and stronger than others. Some of us can control those fires and tamp them down as needed, whereas others lose control and let their fires rage unchecked. The becalming, it is a magical process that permanently tamps these fires down, quenches the fire, so that rage is no longer even a possibility. It is not unlike removing the hand of a thief, so that they cannot steal. But of course, not so vulgar and brutal as removing a physical limb. We simply remove the ability to become enraged in the first place and commit the violence. I am so pleased that you asked. And with that, I think perhaps we should put this to a vote. People in this room, I'm sure, are hot, impatient, and ready for a drink. And
It makes me think of, have you guys seen The Dark Crystal? Mm-hmm. It makes me think of like when they get like their energy force sucked out and they're just kind of like zombies
Yeah.
walking around.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking this is like a Zootopia subplot.
he jumps off the stage, and the councilman takes up the gavel again, turns to his fellow council members and says, "Any discussion from the council?" There is a brief discussion back and forth of the merits of this and that, and in the end, council puts it to a vote, and not unanimously, but in a vote of 4-5, proposition to put becalming in front of the magistrate as an available option in Chukip is approved. And there is a cheer, but it is a quieter one, because at this point, almost the only people in this building are elves. Nearly every non-human has made their way out of the building in anticipation of whatever this celebration is going to turn into, whatever this meeting is going to evolve into. And as the gavel comes down one last time, many of the elves that were here with Rostero Fane burst into a loud cheer, and they try to rile up a group, and it's basically like, let's go to the bar, we're buying! And they're getting a fairly large crowd riled up and heading with them into the Mercantile District to celebrate this victory for justice. And you are left standing outside the meeting hall.
That was something.
That was. I think we need to get Lily and get out of this place. No longer confident in the future of this city.
You don't have trust in the legal system here?
No,
What are you
I
talking about?
don't.
I assume you're making your way back to the scratching post?
Yeah, did I actually say the words that I sent a courier to go to?
Yes.
Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yep, so that happened earlier.
perfect.
When you get back to the scratching post, you find your companions, I don't know, at the bar or up in the room.
Up in the room.
Okay.
Not trying to. Yeah. I'm not
Lay
trying
low.
to shut up. Trying to lay low here.
All right, very good. At which point you can kind of catch them up on the situation writ large.
We were playing a 2-player game.
Yeah. Jaipur.
Jaipur.
We were playing.
Fantasy Jaipur.
Fantasy.
Fantasy.
Of course. It's called My Poor. It's all about taking things to market.
Yep.
We need to practice that apparently.
It is evening at this point. Anything that you want to do or discuss?
You know,
How did the meeting go?
Yeah.
Not well. They're basically gonna put in front of the magistrate an option to just kind of make zombie laborers out of anyone who's not an elf.
Fantastic.
So, I'd just like to know a little bit more about everything you were talking about down in the safe house, Bottom. Yeah, what happened? With you?
Oh.
Like, what's going on?
Oh, you happen to remember the time that I went missing for a bit.
We recall.
Well, I happened to go to the house of Kieran and discover a secret hold that held Hanzo Kieran, who is trying to develop the technology that I ultimately developed with a partner of mine.
had vastly different ideas of how to use it. To which he met his ultimate demise, and I find myself halfway across the world, hunting down those who seek to develop my technology to use for evil.
Wow, this campaign's taking a turn here.
So so they developed it then? They're there, or how close are they to getting it, or like, you know?
Currently unknown, but I have put several roadblocks in place. That package that I found on the ship had a device that was close, but not exact. And the step that the House of Kieran was responsible for is also close, but not exact. And, oh yeah, I have their notes. Which,
Did they know you have their notes?
oh yes,
Okay. Okay.
yes,
Good to know. Good
they
to know.
do know.
Okay.
Should we destroy?
Also, also, well, I won't concern you with this at this moment.
Really,
Oh,
I think
we're
what
good.
secrets do we have
Yeah.
at this point?
We'd love to know.
I think we have some, but
I think it's fine. I mean, ultimately, I've told you exactly the things that you need to be concerned about at the moment.
We might be able to help more if we know more.
I don't think that there's anything that you need help with at the moment.
But thank you.
I mean, roadblocks have been put in place, but ultimately, I believe that the House of Kieran is vying for power.
right, that became apparent to us down.
World-changing power. To the point that life as you know it will not be the same.
Life as I knew it a week ago is totally different right now.
Yes. So let's just say this is to your silver problem, this is the platinum of problems.
I don't want to invalidate your feelings.
Right. But F your feelings.
I get that you have general concerns in your life. This is generally concerning for
Oh my god, you sound like my mom, Bottom.
I have real problems.
Let's examine who
Real
you're
one.
dating lately. I don't think he's right for you.
Okay, well, is there anything else that you think that we could move to do to help with this situation? Do we need to help? Oh,
You want to
Do we
go
stay?
burn down the House of Kieran? I mean, I don't think that would actually do much of anything except just
they have lots of
Big
houses.
insurance
Right.
claim and
right.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, thanks for
I
letting
mean,
us.
we could go back and visit Hanzo and go through the portal that he has.
Yeah, where is this? A
portal
portal?
to where?
Portal?
Exactly.
Do you know where the portal goes?
I have no idea. But
Do you know
that
how
is
to
the
develop
next.
a portal?
That is the next step in the supply chain of evil.
Well, we got the episode title.
The supply chain of evil.
Okay.
It is 6, so I do have to.
Yeah, we gotta get going.
I
here.
don't know,
Okay. We're gonna
but
divide.
it could be something that we do next.
Okay.
I'm not super interested in staying anymore. I do
I
want to
don't
find a
think
way
that
to
there's
get
much left for us here.
right. I do want to get Lily. I would love to help. I'm talking to like my comrades as I'm saying this, but
You know,
I'd love to help Trillium. I don't know that that's going to be a reality.
Okay. I wouldn't mind getting some training from Wally Wally Hanzo.
I certainly
Mach
need it.
two.
I
Mach
just keep
two.
throwing
For
a
Mach
thorn
two.
at people.
I know, for Mach 2, maybe in the morning.
all I got.
That sounded really exhausting. I don't work out much.
I would.
So here's where I think we're gonna leave it. The night falls on this day. You all can take a long rest, heal your wounds and such. I'm gonna award each of you 250 experience points for your successful completion of this mission and some of the scuffles that you had along the way. And we will pick it back up in the morning of the day when the magistrate arrives. So tomorrow, or the next time we play, it will be tomorrow, the day that the magistrate is set to arrive in Chakip. And in the morning, as you come down from your room, one of the tabaxi working the bar has a note for you, Pando.
Oh.
And that note is actually an invitation, a formal invitation from House Hanzo for you to join them for a discussion of mutual interest in their house. And basically, you would have to wave something like this at any blades you passed as you march up the hill. And this would get you in the gate. So you have an invitation to House Hanzo in hand.
Okay.
My brain just stopped. That's Wadi Wadi Hanzo, right? Okay, thank you.
That's right. Quick question. Did you tell them that you didn't see Nips last night?
We didn't.
No, good.
Do we care? We're leaving. Unless you sign us up for something.
Pando got a little grudgy in the last week. She cares.
All right. Well, then we will leave it there. And like I said, we'll pick it up morning of tomorrow, note in hand or invitation in hand. And you guys can decide where you want to go from there.